So will you be able to send that recording to us?
Yes.
It'll be available on our YouTube account. You can just search Tech Pals on YouTube.
Okay, let me write that down.
Channel.
Thank you. If I wanted to record, I would need your permission, right?
Yeah, and there's the ability to set up a disclaimer. We're going to go through some of that in the settings.
Okay.
You guys just saw the disclaimer that popped up automatically.
Yeah.
It pretty much just says that by staying in this meeting, that is also your consent.
Right.
Is tech
All right.
one word or two?
What was that, John?
Is Tech Pals one word or two?
2. All right, so we're going to start this. We're also going to stream it. Give me 2 seconds here.
It's been a while since we've seen you guys. How's everybody been?
Bored?
Bored, yeah.
We've been pretty busy. We've had a lot of stuff we've been doing as Tech Pals, and it's happy to see. We're really happy to see some familiar faces, but we've really expanded and done a lot of really fun, cool, great things in the community.
All right, we're going to go live now. Starting 3, 2. All right, I had some problems trying to broadcast it live on Facebook because it takes the audio away from the Zoom when I was doing it to set it up. So we're going to record this and then post it on YouTube and Facebook later. Sound good? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We've got a short little presentation. All right. Can everyone see my screen all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, now some pictures show up on the left of everyone that's in the presentation speaking. If you wanted to go ahead and minimize that, there is a icon on the far left that you can click that'll minimize that, that'll take it away so you can see the screen better. And also, I'm going to send out a poll right now that it's going to ask you what you'd like to learn the most about here, and you can kind of just fill that out. And then when we are done with this short presentation, we're going to launch into going over what you guys want to learn the most about. All right, so this is Tech Pals Presents Zoom.
So do we click on it?
Let's give everybody like 2-3 minutes, and then move forward so we can get through this. Everyone can kind of get a second to go through the poll.
Oh,
All right,
that is
sounds good.
Polled.
So if we just want one thing, shall we just submit it right away?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can select multiple things or just one.
What is creating polls?
That's what I just did right now. So I sent out this survey question poll.
Oh, great idea. Thank you.
Has everyone had a chance to check out the poll?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, great. Let's launch into this. So a little disclaimer first here is that settings and features will vary depending on your device. Sorry, there's a little lag here. setting up a meeting. We're going to go through how you can set up a meeting instantly, how you can schedule a meeting, altering the settings of the meeting, and enabling or disabling a waiting room. Now, the way that we like to set up meetings is we go right to the website, zoom.us, sign in there, and do the settings. And Josh, our senior tech, will show you that later. We're going to talk about security issues, things like passwords, Zoom bombing, reporting and removing participants, and locking a meeting. Real quickly, there's paid accounts and there are free accounts. The difference between these accounts has to do with these 4 areas. There's a time limit if you have a Zoom meeting with 3 or more people, and on the free account, it's 40 minutes. On the paid, it's unlimited. For recording features, for the paid account, you can record to the cloud, which helps you clear up some storage space as opposed to just saving to your computer. The ability to make a co-host is also on the paid account, and so is access to Zoom support. The other thing we can talk about is screen sharing. This is what I'm doing right now that's enabling you to see this presentation. You can share your whole desktop. You can share a specific window or a portion. You can also share a whiteboard, depending on device. We're going to go through that. And then there's also annotation, which means you can draw on someone else's screen or your own screen as you share it. There are breakout rooms. These are good for small group activities when you're in a larger group, or for playing games when you want to break into teams. We're going to go through how to create some breakout rooms and some settings, such as how long the breakout room is for, whether people are able to leave and come back to the breakout room, etc. And one of our favorite uses of Zoom when we're not presenting is to play games. You can play Pictionary using the whiteboard. Balderdash, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but it's where you'll pick a word, and then everybody will try to come up with a fake definition of the word and fool people into picking their fake definition of the word for points, and you get points by guessing the real one. It's a really funny game. It's a whole lot of fun. There's Jackbox TV, which is an assortment of different games that you can play and interact with your peers while doing Zoom. And same with playcards.io. This is another format where they got card games, as well as games like backgammon, where by going on Zoom, you can share your screen and then you can play backgammon with each other. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into setting up a meeting.
I got a very quick question, because
Yes.
this is dear to my heart. Could I play poker with my friends on the play cards option?
So Josh and I find that there's an app called Texas Pokerist, and they've got poker there that you can play for free. That's good. And as far as an online version of the poker, we go through that app. On playcards.io, they don't have poker on there. Playingcards.io.
You have like some pretty fun basic ones. They have Go Fish, 500, some really fun basic ones that are really nice to play, especially if you have a chance to play with anyone younger in your life. If you have any nieces, nephews, or grandchildren, it might be fun to play some Go Fish if you get the chance.
All right, so Josh, you want to go through starting a meeting and going through the free version settings? Oh wait, let's take a look at our poll results and see what people want to learn the most about. So we've got 60% want to learn about breakout rooms. And then we've got 50% want to learn about creating polls. And then, and co-hosting a meeting. So we're going to do breakout rooms, polls, co-host a meeting, and then talking about some security issues. And when we do the meeting, we'll talk about the waiting room as well.
Nobody said they wanted to learn how to start a meeting.
4 people want to
Okay.
learn how to start a meeting. So we'll do that. We'll start there.
That's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to dive straight into it. You'll find that using Chrome is probably going to be your best experience when using Zoom. That's what I use. So let me go back here. The first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to go to zoom.us in your address bar. Go there, and then you'll have your options at the top. You'll want to go to sign in at the top right, and then you'll want to enter in your information that you use to log in. If you haven't created an account with Zoom, and maybe you just joined through the web browser, you'll want to go up to sign up, the orange box, and sign up for a new account. But if you've done that already, you can just enter your information in and sign in. Now, the very first thing that I'm going to do is hit schedule a meeting. That's one of the first thing that pops up in the browser along the blue bar at the top when you sign into your account. By hitting schedule a meeting, I'll be brought to this screen. I'm going to scroll down a bit. And the topic is essentially the title, Virtual Game Day. Learn, whoops. Then the description just lets people know a little bit more. Learn what cool games you can play on Zoom. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the when. You have 2 options. You can either click your calendar button or type in the date. I'll just open the calendar. It wants me to scroll up a little bit because I'm zoomed so far out of my screen. So I'll say today at 6 p.m. That sounds like a fun time to do it. I should call that a virtual game night, though, probably. You know, we'll keep that there, though, because I'll show you guys how to edit this meeting afterwards. It'll be 1 hour, we'll call it. But my basic plan has a 40-minute time limit with 3 or more people, which means that for a free account, 2 people can be having a Zoom session for as long as they want. At the moment a third person joins into your account, you will start a 40-minute timer on that meeting. So you can say it's an hour, but it will kick you out sooner if there's several people in the meeting. It's about $14.99 to upgrade to a pro account, and that gives you a few more cool features, such as a co-host. You can only have 1 host with a free account. Also, you have the option to do cloud recording with a paid account, whereas with a free account, the only way you can record is to your device locally. We can set this up to be a recurring meeting. I like that idea. Recurrence, I'll change that to weekly. So once every week on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., with an end date, I can change here. So I can make this go on for longer or shorter if I'd like. So it looks like that's 7 in a row, 7 weeks in a row. I can set my own meeting password here. And then that's a password I would get everybody in order to get into the meeting, along with the meeting ID Or after I create this and I'll show you, you get a link which has this information inside of that link already. Now we'll scroll down a bit. I can make it to where whenever I join the meeting, my video is already on for my host or my participant, or it's off. So if I want to join and I don't want to have to click join with video at the start, I can turn that on, and I can do the same for my participants. That way it'll just immediately join you into the group. There's meeting options. I can enable people to join before me, which is kind of a fun one. So that way, if I'm running a little bit behind and you guys start joining, say at 12:45 and the show starts at 1, you guys can spend about 5 minutes, talking amongst each other. I can make it to where everyone is muted upon entry, which is more for very large settings. If there's going to be a lot of people, then you might want to mute them, because sometimes people may be joining in from a very noisy area, and that can be very frustrating for everybody to have to hear that when they first come in. You can choose to make the meeting automatically be recorded whenever.
Josh, a quick question.
Yes.
One of the problems I've seen here is the waiting room. If you enable the waiting room and people are waiting, you have to pay attention to see if they are waiting. That has not happened successfully in a traditional Fraser Zoom meeting.
Yes, so you can always turn that off. And we actually like to turn that feature off.
Yeah.
So we'll turn that off, and then you guys will just go straight into the meeting whenever it starts. There is no waiting room in that sense. So if you don't like that and it's giving you frustration, I would highly suggest going and turning that off. And this is all just whenever you're creating a meeting. We'll go ahead and press save, because I've gone through that entire list. That is everything about creating a meeting. Now it's in my meetings, and this is where I'm at. I can go down here. When the time comes, I can press start this meeting. I could start it now, and theoretically, I could just stay in the meeting until 6 p.m. as one person, or even with a second person. And then the moment more people start joining at 6 o'clock, that's when that timer will start. As long as I haven't left that meeting, this meeting will still remain active. If you look down, you'll see the description, the title I made, the time, the date. I can add it to my calendar system that I use. I can add it to all of them if I'd like. There's the meeting ID. I can choose to show the password, which you guys all saw a moment ago. And then here's the link I was talking about. There's a button that says copy invitation. If I click on that, I can go here and I can just copy and paste this entire link here and then email it to somebody. So what I'll do is I'll just drag my mouse and copy all of it. Oh, actually there's a button at the bottom, excuse me. I can just press copy meeting invitation and it automatically hit the copy button. Then I can just go into an email, decide who I want to send it to, and then I can just open up my menu and paste it in. Oops.
Is that envelope with the red flap the email envelope?
The envelope with, yeah, that's Gmail. That's my Gmail right there.
I see.
I would open that up, or I would type in gmail.com and I would go directly to my email. So if I scroll down, I can see all the stuff I set up for it, that their host is off and the participant video is off when they first join, that people can join before me. Nobody gets muted. There's no waiting room, and I'm not going to record the meeting automatically. but I said I wanted to change the name. I can also save this as a template if I like the way that I set this type of a meeting up, and I'm going to set a lot of meetings up like this in the future. I can delete the meeting if I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this, and just cancel it altogether. Or if I need to change any of the stuff from whenever I set up the meeting, I could go here.
Josh, quick question. Once I save it to Outlook, or anybody can save it wherever they want, then I can cut and paste that and then send it out as an email with the password and with the link, right?
Yes, all of that information is put into that copy message.
Sure, thank you.
Copy, and it'll give them the link, as well as the meeting ID and the password and a bunch of other information. But those are the most important pieces of information in it. So I want to edit this meeting. Since I made it a recurring meeting, it's asking me if I just want to make this change for this meeting or for all of my meetings. I happen to want to make it for all of them at this time, so I'll click on that. Now I'll scroll down, and as you can see, pretty much everything I created can be edited. And this will allow me to keep the same link. So it's not like I'm creating a new event. I'm just going in and changing something I forgot to say or do. So in this case, we're going to call this virtual game night. I'll scroll back down to the bottom, all the way down, and hit save again. And that is everything about scheduling a meeting. That is very, very simple. Now, there is some more stuff that we can dive into. One thing you didn't notice, and I know everyone wanted to learn about, which we can dive into with our paid account a little bit, is whenever we go to edit this meeting through our paid account, we see the bottom of the edit screen. And at the bottom, we have the ability to create a poll at the bottom of the screen. And you don't see that here because that's only an option for people with a paid account.
For people with what?
For people with a paid account, but it's not an option for a free account.
Oh, good, thank you.
Yes. All right, so now.
Josh, one more thing. One of the points of questions that I get is the password for some of us at Fraser is confusing. So I forgot, how do you get it just to have a link and no password?
So I'll get to that in a moment. That's actually inside of our settings.
Great.
So we did everything about scheduling a meeting as well as editing a meeting. Does anyone have any more questions revolving around that? Or did you feel like you got a good idea by what I told you?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess my email is Xfinity, but I'm not sure how I would call up my email to email the invitation to the group members.
On. So let's see. I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this meeting tab because I have this menu expanded. Whoops. What did I do? Go back. So I'm going to go to this meeting tab that I had open, and that's going to bring back my menu on the left here. Webinars is for business accounts. So even TechPal's Pro account cannot host webinars, which means you can host upwards of 1,000 people for a classroom type setting. We can currently do up to 100 with our account. You can also do up to 100 with your free account, but just keep in mind the free account only gets the 40-minute window. As we mentioned before, with recordings, the free accounts only have the option to do a local recording. The cloud recordings is available for any paid account, pro, business, or enterprise. this is just a little bit of basic information. When you click on recording, it tells you a little bit about cloud recording, and same with local recording. You go here and it'll tell you what versions you need and just give you some basic information about it. We'll close this window, scroll back down, and we'll go to settings. This is a really important place to be at in Zoom. When you're in settings, everything about your meetings, you create them and schedule new meetings will be determined here. From here, when you schedule a meeting, I can say that I always want my video to be started on. Same with participants, but I actually won't turn that on. I definitely want all of my host videos turned on for when I start the menu though. From here, I can determine different audio types. I only have the option for computer audio, but let's say that I had a nice fancy headset that I had plugged into my computer with all of the proper drivers installed. I would have the option to start the video with that headset each time if I had that installed. Here's the option for me to automatically allow people to join the meeting before the host arrives. Your personal meeting ID number is always, it's basically assigned to your account, and it's a number that you use when you create a meeting, so that way it's tied to your name and people can enter that number. However, the option to create a randomized one exists as well. You can turn this off if you'd like. And if you turn it off, as you'll see there, it says that the following settings depend on the setting and the changes might affect them. To use your personal meeting ID when starting an instant meeting, or use your personal ID when scheduling a meeting, and to require a password for personal meeting ID. So if we turn that off, you'll see that this is one thing that's great when you're not trying to have people enter a password, essentially. This is one of the steps.
Can you repeat that, please?
When I sent you, I'm not finding where I forwarded it. It's not coming through at all.
So if you turn off enabling a personal ID, it means, we'll click on this and we'll show you a little bit more information about it. Hopefully it zooms in automatically. So you have a Zoom Help Center. That's always a great place to go. I was going to tell you guys a little bit about the Zoom Help Center towards the end. So yeah, that's too much information. The best way to know your personal meeting ID is that it's
Josh, we've lost your audio.
Josh, we can't hear you.
to a link to where people aren't going to need to enter in a password.
You need
as
to
you'll
start over.
Josh,
Yes.
we missed you for a little bit. The audio died. Can you start over a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Is that good now?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone. So you guys were here with me at the personal meeting ID, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So if we turn this off, it'll basically create a randomly generated personal ID every meeting you create. And that means that you're not going to be required to create a password. Yeah, I don't even have the option to require a password when I'm scheduling new meetings. If I turn that on, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I now have the option to require a password, which is locked by the administrator. All meetings using a PMI.
What's the PMI?
Personal meeting ID.
I see.
Yes. So I feel like I may be wrong here. I am not sure if you have the ability to turn off the password in a free account. We can do it in our paid account, but it looks going through these settings here that we do not have the option. It appears that it is locked by Zoom, the administrators, from creating a free account, the ability to turn off the password. However, you still have the option to embed the password in the invite link for one quick join, which I can show you that as well. So I'll go back down. So sorry about that confusion, you guys. You don't have the option to turn off the password. And I think it used to, but I think that Zoom tightened up their restrictions. Since they became such a popular company, they wanted to protect themselves a little bit more. And so they required all free accounts to make a password for that. You don't have the ability to, with a free account, for people to call in. Paid accounts have the ability for us to give people a toll-free number that they can call into, and they can join the meeting via landline telephone. I can choose for all participants to be muted when they come into the room. Here is great. I can choose an upcoming meeting reminder. And now my desktop will automatically let me know, hey, it's 5 minutes until your meeting, time to get on. And that can be great if I'm really busy doing a lot of things. So require encryption for third-party endpoints is basically if you're sending any files across Zoom, it'll require them to be encrypted because there's a lot of third-party applications that you can connect to Zoom. Your chat, you can turn your chat on or off. If I don't want anyone to be able to talk because it's a presentation or there's just so many people that it would clutter things up. And I can turn on or off private chat and allow people to talk to each other. If I didn't want you guys to have the option to send a private message to each other, I could turn that off with this. Auto-saving chats means that they're going to send me after the meeting a list of the entire chat if I turn that on.
Oh,
I don't like, yes.
Play sounds is great.
Play sound when participants join or leave.
Mhm.
I like to have that one off, but it'll play like that ding dong you hear sometimes. If you've heard that ding dong in Zoom, that's controlled by this button right here. This allows you to send files through file transfer in the chat button inside Zoom itself. If you go to chat, you may see the option for files or send a file, and that's controlled by this right here. And if you don't see it, that's because the meeting in the settings here has not been activated.
Can you give us an example of that?
So you can see my screen here, right?
Yeah.
I can't actually do it because unfortunately I am on a Chromebook. However, if it was available on my screen, if I was using a Windows machine or a Mac, I would see just to the right here of this chat box, a button that said files. And that's with opening this chat button here at the bottom. I would look and I would click on that files and I would have the option to send a file from either my computer or one of the various cloud options. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So this next button is just feedback to Zoom. If you click that, then you can have a dialog box and type in some information about your meeting, what was good, what was bad, what do you think that they should work on, as well as the survey that they have, which is essentially for the same purpose. You can have the ability to always show the meeting control toolbar, which is this bar you see at the bottom here. I can turn that off, however, very easily in a meeting by simply pressing the Alt key on my keyboard. So I just clicked it, and you'll notice that bar went away on my screen. If I hit it again, that bar comes back along with all of my settings at the top. That'll auto lock it while I'm inside of it. I can click to show my Zoom windows during screen share, which is a really fun one. If you want to be able to give people an example of what you see at my screen. So one of the big things that really became a problem for a lot of people teaching in Zoom at the very beginning was that a lot of people thought that when you shared your screen, you did not have the option to be able to see everything that was going on the screen. You couldn't see my mute button. You couldn't see the toolbar. It was just not possible. However, we found this setting, and that allows you to be able to see my toolbar in Zoom and all of those great things. The same thing here. I can choose to turn on screen sharing, which is what I'm doing now. I can let everyone do it, and that's what's happening now. Leah has it so that way I can share the screen, even though I'm not the host right now. I can also make it to where multiple people can share at the same time. So if I turn that on, then that means that other people would be able to start sharing over me. I can disable my desktop and screen share for users and make it to where, say, only a certain type of file is allowed to be shared. Like maybe the whiteboard if you're playing Pictionary, so nobody can make the mistake and say, I only want this meeting to have the whiteboard and we're going to play Pictionary in this Zoom meeting. Annotation, that's what will allow you to draw on your own screen, like circles and arrows, as well as give other people the ability to draw circles and arrows on your screen. The whiteboard, as I was showing you, is great. You will just have a board pop up on your screen. If you have a touch screen laptop, even better, because it's way cooler to draw with your finger. But otherwise, you can still use your mouse, and it's an extremely fun game and a fun twist to playing Pictionary. Remote control, this is great. This is if you're doing one-on-one technical support help with people. While you're sharing the screen right now, I actually do not have this feature on a Chromebook. The Chromebook is one of the most limited devices whenever it comes to Zoom, unfortunately. However, all the other devices allow the ability for remote control, which means that when you share the screen, you can also give permission for somebody else to control your screen. So if you're having very, very big technical difficulties, you can get in a Zoom meeting with somebody that you trust and have them really help you out through the process and give you great tech support without any physical contact at all. You can allow people to give nonverbal feedback and express their opinions, which basically gives people reactions. So if you might have the ability, I don't think they're turned on for this meeting, but you'll have the ability to give like a thumbs up or waving if somebody new joins the meeting, little quick reactions like that. I can turn on or off the ability for people to rejoin. So if I need to kick somebody out of the group because maybe they're just being a menace or they're not being respectful and they're talking over other people and you want to remove them from the group, you can do that. But if you want them to not come back, you would want this to be off. And having that off, then they will not be able to come back into the meeting once you kick them out. You can allow participants to rename themselves. I like doing this one.
because I do Zoom for a lot of reasons, and I have to change my name frequently depending on what it is that I'm using Zoom for. From here, I have the ability to hide my profile pictures in a meeting if I don't want people to see my profile picture because I'm in a sensitive meeting, perhaps. These are advanced features inside of Zoom. You can report people to Zoom by turning this on, which means you would hover over their name in the participant screen here. And I would go to, I don't have the option because I'm not the host or I'm not a co-host, but there would be a button that says more. And I would go down and I would hit report. If they were, say they were a scammer and they somehow managed to get a hold of your link, and you would report them, and then you would go back to that more button, and then you would remove them. Reporting them is important to do first, because if you remove them, then they'll no longer be in the list, and you won't have the option to report them after that. So report and then remove, and then if it is an even bigger concern, then you can also lock the meeting with that same more button and prevent people from coming into your meeting after the fact. And just the people that are in your meeting are the people in your meeting. All right, I'll go back to this screen. Here's where you turn on breakout rooms. You cannot create a breakout room for a meeting until you turn this on. I can then have another option, a checkbox here, and I can allow the host to assign breakout rooms when they're scheduling a meeting, which is great. Then you can turn on or off the breakout rooms as you're creating a meeting now.
Can you explain that, Josh?
So whenever you turn on the breakout room option, you have the checkbox which says that you can assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling. So let's say this is something further you can do. You would have to go into your Google Contacts and add all of the people you're going to regularly Zoom with into your Google Contacts. And then you would go, I showed you guys how to connect your Google Calendar in your profile, as well as your Google Contacts can be synced there as well. So once somebody is in your contacts, you can then schedule the meeting and invite people to the meeting individually and assign them automatically to a break room. So let's say, Arthur, I want to pair you up with Nancy in a breakout room when the meeting starts. So you guys can work out technical difficulties together before the meeting actually starts. I could do that, and then you wouldn't be disturbing the main room whenever the meeting is kicking off. Does that make sense?
Yes, but the most use we'll probably get out of that is to have, during a meeting where 25 or 30 people show up, to break it down into smaller groups.
Exactly.
And that's a skill set that I'd like to learn.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I will show you then. So as you're doing that, first let me go through this and I'll show you. We're almost through this part of the settings. The remote support option isn't something you should really turn on if you're doing group settings, because if I turn this on, it's automatically going to turn off the above one, which is the breakout room. You can't have remote support and breakout room on at the same time. I have to turn it off first. Awesome. So I have closed captioning, which isn't really that great. You need a stenographer, someone to type everything out for you, but then you can have them saved. Foreign camera control isn't really that important. It just allows somebody else to, it's not that important, honestly. It allows someone to be able to see what's going on your other cameras on your devices that may be hooked up to your device. Virtual background is what you see Leah's screen as. She's got the virtual background going on. That's really great.
This is just an image that I was able to upload. If you hit the top caret, the up caret arrow where it says stop video, you may have an option that says choose virtual background.
Right
And
here.
from there, there's a couple selected options. You can be at the beach, get the Northern Lights. If you have this available on your device. It doesn't work for all devices, but that's where you would find it.
Thank you so much, Leah. And yeah, that's the carrot she was talking about right here. I don't have it on my Chromebook. Very basic device going on here. This one is not that important for you guys. Identify guest participants in a meeting or webinar. That's for like if you have a large internal organization. Auto answer group chat. That's if you want an auto answer in chat. If someone sends you a message, you can automatically reply to them. A lot of this is information that's not that important. Let me scroll down. This is great. Join from your browser link. This allows people to bypass the downloading Zoom process. This will allow people to go directly into a meeting with a link if they've never downloaded Zoom before. That's a really fun one to have if you're dealing with people that have a hard time dealing with going into email and stuff like that. You can get notifications when people join before you. You can turn that on or off. Get a notification when a meeting you're a part of has been canceled. This one's not that important. That's if you're sharing your screen for an iPhone. It tries to hide important sensitive information. You can see what the email invite looks like and what language to choose it in, and have them send you a preview email so you can see what that looks like. Well, that's only for paid users, excuse me. Scheduling privilege, this is not important either. This is only for paid people because you can only have users in your account that are licensed users, and you have to pay for a license. And that's everything that's in there for account settings. I'll go ahead and go into—
Josh, before you go on, how's everybody doing? Everybody okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good, taking notes.
All right, Arthur, you had a specific one now. Now that we got through all of these settings, give me a second to scroll back up to the top here.
Okay, the specific is if I have a meeting with 25 people, I have an option to break it up into groups. I'd like to see how to do that. And also, is it possible to, for instance, join Prairie people and Peach people? Do I have a choice in how to select people for each group?
So I can talk a little bit about the breakout rooms because I have that feature here on my device. So at the very bottom of your screen,
It'll be down here somewhere.
yeah, it'll be down there. It'll say breakout rooms. It'll look like a square with 4 squares inside of it.
So that's only for you. I don't have that.
No, I
host-
don't either.
Right, this will be for the host of the meeting. You'll see this at the bottom.
Okay.
And then it'll say assign participants into, and then you can choose the number of rooms by clicking on the arrow. So we have 9 people on the call right now. So I can assign participants to 2 rooms, and it'll say on the bottom 4 to 5 participants per room. 3 rooms, 3 participants per
Can
room.
you show us that or not able to?
Yeah, it tells you that. Oh, can I show it to you right now? We might be able.
So in personal, you were asking about that during breakout rooms, and what I was showing you was the general settings for the account. Then there's a whole nother area here under admin. You'll see room management here. I can go to Zoom rooms. I don't think this is actually it, excuse me. Never mind that.
Let me finish explaining it. So when you enable Zoom rooms, at the bottom of your screen, your taskbar, there will be this thing, it's labeled breakout rooms with the boxes. Here's where you can click to change the number of rooms that you have. And I can select either automatically so that it will randomly assign people to groups, or I can select manually where I can choose who I want in which room. So then if I click create room, after that goes manually, then you hover over where it says your room, you can rename this room. And on the far right, there's a button that says assign. And when you click on assign, it gives me a drop-down list of all of the participants in the meeting. And I can click on one and assign. Now here, I can also create a second room and a third room and a fourth room. And you would go and assign who's in what room. And when you're done assigning everybody a room, there is a button in the bottom left that says open all rooms. And when you click open all rooms, then everyone goes into the breakout rooms. Now there are some options for breakout rooms. If you click where it says options at the bottom, once you're in breakout rooms, you can select that the breakout rooms will close after a certain amount of time. You can select that you'll get a notification when this time is up. You can select to have a countdown after closing the breakout room. So you can have like a 60-second countdown as to when the breakout room is going to close. You can allow participants to return to the main session at any time. And you can select whether you want to automatically move the participants to the breakout rooms or do it manually. There's also a recreate button, and this will generate a room just like the room that you've already created. These features I went through while opening up the breakout rooms on my computer, and in the recording, this may show up, so you may be able to see this.
Just to, I think, reiterate something that Joshua said, the settings are the most comprehensive when you use the browser settings.
Yes.
All the others are much more limited depending on the device you've got.
Yes. So there is the ability for us to do it from here. First, first I had to create that meeting, which I created that meeting, and then I had to go into the settings, and I had to enable the ability to do a breakout room. Now, if I go back to my meetings, I should have the virtual game night here. Scroll down a bit. Virtual game night. So it's a recurring one. We'll click on that. I think I should have the ability to edit it now and create the breakout rooms in the editing process now that I've enabled it, hopefully.
Will it
Go
schedule?
breakout room pre-assign right there. Then I can just hit create room. So keep that in mind, everybody. First, I went to the settings and I turned on the switch for breakout rooms. Then I go back to the meeting and I edit the meeting. I turn on the switch, the checkbox for breakout room pre-assign. I can then create a room by clicking the plus. They're going to scroll up a bit. Yeah, hit the plus here, create a room. We'll edit the name of that. You said what? One called Peaks. And we'll add another room, breakout room 2. What was it, Prairies?
Yeah. AI. AIR.
What am I thinking? All right.
Almost.
Right. All right. So that's those. We created both of those. go back down. I pressed enter a little bit too prematurely, so I'll go back to edit. So create rooms. I don't think I actually created them. I didn't hit save. That's what happened. But either way, you saw how to create them, and then you can import your contacts here. You can just drag your contact sheets here, like if it's a spreadsheet, whatever it is, and then you can drag the different emails, like, oh, that's Cindy's email, that's Bob's email. I'm going to put them in the peaks room. You'll drag them because you'll have created the rooms here, and you'll once you have them, you'll be able to drag them to each of the rooms. Like say room 1 will be here and room 2 will be over here on the right. And then you'll have your list of contacts that you've uploaded, and you can drag Cindy over here and, excuse me, and then Bob over here to room 2 on the right, if that makes sense. I just don't have any contacts to actually put in there at the moment, unfortunately, on this PC.
To go back a bit, may I ask a question? Is this a good time?
Go ahead. We're getting towards the end, definitely.
I have a meeting to schedule every second and fourth Friday. Will it do that?
Yes, I can speak to answering that question. There'll be an option for recurring meetings.
Right.
Maybe Josh can show you on the screen. And then it'll say, you know, weekly, daily, monthly. And then when you click monthly, you'll have an option for, say, the 3rd Thursday of every month or the 20th of every month.
So I'll have to do 2 different screens to have the 2nd and the 4th.
I have not tried to set it up for the 2nd and like the 4th of the week. Let's see. Josh is in here right now. We're going to find out right now. Let's go to monthly.
Repeat every 1 month.
Okay.
First Sunday of the month.
It's not a date. It's a number.
Yeah, there's a second select circle right there where you would click underneath day 20 of the month.
Yeah, so you click this checkbox and then you could pick.
Oh, I see. First, yeah.
But you may have to create 2 Zoom meetings, one for say the first Sunday and the other one for the 3rd Sunday.
And to get both of them.
Right.
You'd have to have 2 recurring meetings, but it would be a way to kill all the stones.
Okay, that'd be good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So did anyone have any questions? I know some of you guys wanted to learn about Zoom bombing and some more about security. Does anyone have any specific questions on that?
No, that's okay.
If we have particular comments, should we email them to us, or how do you want them?
Yeah, you can email any comments and questions to us at info, I-N-F-O, at thetechpals.org, O-R-G.
I'm sorry, what's that one again?
It's info at thetechpals.org.
Okay.
The Tech Pal.
.org, not .com. Okay.
You got it. You got it. So also, if you guys want to shoot us an email, we can send you a link to this recorded video, as well as we may be able to develop a transcript for it as well. We're working on doing that. We're trying to get the closed captions. It's best if we have somebody that's able to type when we're talking. Otherwise, it's very expensive to add closed captionings, but we might be able to include a transcript. But at the least, we could send you a link to this video recording. And Josh just put in the chat our website. If you click the controls at the bottom of the screen, if you don't see the controls, again, you can press Alt and click on chat, and that'll be up there, our website and our email address.
So Leah, I need a little more help in breakout rooms. How could I get that with the least amount of work on your part?
We can put together some screenshot images of going through breakout rooms and generate a Word document where you can see more visuals.
Why don't I email that to you offline?
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm still sharing my screen too, aren't I? Zoom. So does everyone know what Zoom bombing is? Would they like a quick definition on what that is?
No.
No.
Everyone.
How about games? Is anybody interested in seeing how to play games?
Yes.
All right. I was hoping somebody would say that. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share a whiteboard. So when you click share screen, there may be some options that say basic, advanced, or files. Under basic, there's an option to share the whiteboard. So I'm going to go ahead and share my whiteboard. So at the top, there's drawing tools. There's draw, stamp, spotlight, eraser, format, clear. If you click on draw, you can get a little pencil here where I can draw around. And I'm going to try to draw something. And you guys tell me if you can guess what it is.
It's a fake with a big nose.
Nope.
Kilroy. No.
A rose.
Nope. Here, I'm trying to draw it again.
A maze.
Press clear if you're starting over, Leah.
Okay. So you can
Your
always press.
Your pictures are in front of the drawing.
All right, here we go. Josh, any guesses?
A bagel,
Close.
sandwich, bread.
An advertisement for a beginning art class?
It's a pretzel. We'll be signing up for our art classes later today.
Well, maybe you need to start with something easier.
It's a pretty bad pretzel.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a New Yorker, he
You guys
knows.
want me to try one? I'll try one quick. Let's see. I got to open Paint though, Paint Z, because I don't have the whiteboard. So this is what's awesome. If you have let's say you have a device like me and you don't have a whiteboard, because my Chromebook is very basic.
Can I play chess with my grandchild? Is that possible?
Yes. You have to go to a third-party website that has like a chessboard. I bet you, I haven't actually tried that, but
Yes.
first I'm going to do one of these though. I want you guys to guess what I'm going to draw, okay? What I can do.
Hopefully he's a better drawer than I am.
Actually, let me clear that. Undo. I want to do the right color.
Oh, I know what this is right now. It's our dining room.
Very good.
No, that was very bad. I'm going to try one more time. I'm trying to. Oh, I can just do a circle here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Kind of like cheating, huh? And then.
It's the earth. It's a soccer ball.
Yeah, soccer ball.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in and steal that one.
Yeah.
It
So
could
I-
also, excuse me, it could also be a bear holding a ball from the other side.
That's true. So yeah, that's one of our more favorite ones to do.
I'm going to show you guys.
No, hold on, Leah. Somebody had a specific question I was going to address before we move on.
Okay.
What was that again? Do you remember? Arthur, I think that was you.
Arthur has.
What?
Oh, there. No, there he is.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what's the question?
Before I threw my soccer ball, didn't you have something you wanted me to address?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I think, are we done?
I'm going to show you guys one other site where you guys can play games. I'm going to share my screen right now. This is the website playingcards.io. And this is a pretty cool site. So you can be on Zoom and one of you can share your screen. One of my favorite games is backgammon. I play this with my family a lot. So you would start game by clicking start game. And this would be the link to play with others. So I can copy this. I can left click or double click, depending on your device. And I can go copy link address. And then I would go over here to the chat. And I would just enter in that link right into the chat. And then you would both be able to come to this screen here. And these are the dice. You click on the dice. And then you can move your pieces.
Where's the dice?
The dice are over in the side right here. There are these little circle things. Can you see these?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll annotate on my screen. Oops. These are the dice.
Yeah.
So you just click the middle of it. It's pretty simple format here, just with like clicking and checking them out. But it's fun. So this is at playingcards.io. And I'm going to put the link to that in the chat. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I would like to know a little bit more about Zoom bombing. Sorry.
Zoom bombing. Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about that. So this was a bigger problem earlier. Zoom has gone through some steps to try to take care of this, involving encrypting the websites and requiring passwords if it's not encrypted and the password's not already in the encrypted link. What was happening were people were guessing the links and entering into other people's Zoom recordings and doing inappropriate things like sharing inappropriate images on the screen, saying inappropriate things. I know there was a very unfortunate Zoom bombing of a Passover Seder by some neo-Nazis, and that was very disturbing. But they have definitely taken steps to avoid this. And some things that you can do if you were to get Zoom bombed would be to have the host click on the name where it says more, scroll down and report the person and then remove them. And you can also lock your screens, your meetings, so that you only have your certain participants entering it. And this again would be another layer of protection that you could do to avoid unwanted guests coming into your meeting. Does that clear things up a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Was there any other things that people wanted to learn a little bit more about?
We got it.
Great.
I
Well,
think
thank
for the
you
most-
all for coming. I really appreciate this. Again, my name is Leah. I'm president here at Tech Pals, and my partner is Joshua. He's senior tech.
Yeah, if anybody has, any issues that wants any more help or additional one-on-one, we're here. We've been offering our services for free to the community. So just reach out to us, find our website, and we'll be more than happy to help you out as well, along with all the help you have internally also.
Josh, why are you offering your services for free?
Because it's the right thing to do during a pandemic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys are great.
So before
Yeah,
we
it was
hang up,
really, yeah.
guys, can you email me what worked and didn't work for you in this session so I could send it over to Frog at our meeting, please? Just a few
Yes,
words.
and absolutely, please, all of us, give us your honest feedback. It's the only way we're going to get better and learn how to address some of these issues better. What can we work on? What did you like the best? All of that kind of stuff. If you could, please leave us your feedback on that. We would highly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Where do we give our feedback?
Well, great question. There's two great places where you can give us feedback. If you have a Google account, you can leave us a Google review, or if you're on Facebook, we would invite you to join our page. You can look us up by looking up, it's facebook.com/HiTechPals, HiTechPals.
What about reactions at the bottom of our screen?
Or
that
you
again?
could just email me and I'll edit them and put them into a format that would be useful, so we
Oh,
don't.
that's great. Yeah, that's what I'll do, Art.
Yeah.
And everybody has my email because I've been sending crazy ones. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll
Bye.
press the
Bye,
leave
everybody.
button. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
So then to end the meeting, there's a button down here in the bottom right.
Here,
And you
I'll share
select-
real quick. I'll share my screen one more time, and then you can see it. I gotta go back. So in the bottom right here, I've
It
got
says
a-
end meeting. And when I
Leave.
click it, because I'm the host, I can end meeting for all or just leave the meeting. So I'm going to end the meeting for all and hope you guys stay safe. Have a great day.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.